What is up today, 49ers faithful? Drew Kerr, 49ers Sports Talk. Today's May 7th, 2024. Today I wanted to talk about the crowded wide receiver room, all 11 wide receivers, what the pecking order might look like with everybody that's been added, who might make it, and who's probably out. Let's jump in. Here are the 11 guys that are currently on the roster. Brandon Aiyuk, Ronnie Bell, Chris Conley, Jacob Cowing, Danny Gray, Jauan Jennings, Tay Martin, Tarique Owens, Ricky Pearsall, Deebo Samuel, and Trent Taylor. All right, so I just wanted to start really quickly with the three obvious, the big three, Deebo, Aiyuk, and Jauan Jennings. If he signs his tender, he still has not signed his tender, so we're watching closely there, obviously. Barring any injury, Deebo, Aiyuk, and Jennings will probably be the top three targets, top three wide receivers. Brock Purdy's already developed really good chemistry with Brandon Aiyuk. I think that if they can get him in before training camp, if they can get this deal done and knocked out, that's only going to bode well for them. They didn't really have time to develop that even further in the offseason because Purdy kind of just barely made it for week one. And obviously Deebo is Deebo. Deebo's gonna Deebo, and I think that that's obviously a shoo-in. The one concern though is almost every single year Deebo has a couple games that he misses, nicked up or not, and I think that Ricky Pearsall is gonna add some insurance there for that, and possibly Cowing as well. He's really good in space. He's really good with the bubble screens. He's kind of like a punt returner, so. He's not quite as tough as Deebo. He's not going to run over DBs or anything like that, but he does have this quick, shifty, shaky element to him, so we'll watch that. Jauan Jennings, third and Jauan, he's pretty much automatic on third. He was huge in the Super Bowl, so I hope, and probably you guys do as well, that this tender gets signed, and at least we have him maybe for one more season. He will be a free agent next year, so. That's a obvious, big three. You guys know that. We all know that. Injuries could be a concern. Glad glad the Niners have added some depth. So, yeah. All right, moving on into the rookies. Just because rookie mini camp or rookie training camp is going to be on Friday, and so we'll have some, footage of that hopefully. And we'll be able to kind of see how they're going to fit, see how they're looking, see, if they're the bar is raised for them, with some of these undrafted guys that'll be in there competing against the guys that we drafted. Very intrigued by both Pearsall and Cowing's ceiling. I think both of them have great elements to their game. Cowing's a little bit small. He's a little bit, I don't even think he's 170, so he's very small. Kind of reminds me of Dexter Carter back in the day. So, I think that jet sweeps, both of them have the ability to do that. I saw, Pearsall take one to the house at Florida. I've seen Cowing get some jet sweeps, so they both have that ability. They both have that capability. I think once we get into the preseason games, that's going to be a fun element to watch. So, they both also have kick return ability. So mostly punts. We'll see how the new kickoff thing's going to look or be. I almost feel like, Garendo or Cody Schrader or one of those guys should be looked at to be the kickoff return guy, because I think it's going to be more of like a running back type of situation, but you do want that home run hitter element. Cowing's a bit small. He's really shifty, but I think that you probably are going to want a little bit of power back there as well. Somebody that could maybe run over a smaller special teamer. So that'll be fun to watch. Cowing, in one of my mock drafts, I had Xavier Worthy going to the Niners. Kind of glad we didn't, because I've seen footage of him recently dropping passes already at the Chiefs rookie mini camp, and that's kind of been ongoing kind of theme for the Chiefs and the regular season. It seems like it's not an issue in the postseason, but for some reason in the regular season, they had a bit of a case of the dropsies. It was mainly two players. Not going to get into who, because this is a Niners channel. I don't want to talk about the Chiefs. But anyway, Cowing has that element that Worthy would have brought of being able to take the top off. You've all probably heard it on other channels and stuff like that. But this is a chess piece that Kyle can move around the field, put in the slot, maybe take a, I don't know if you remember those Vernon Davis seam routes that he would just kind of run up, and whichever way the safety was, he would go the other way. Cowing could easily separate and maybe add that element, not on Vernon Davis's level, but with the speed element, and free up the underneath routes, free up Christian McCaffrey, on check downs or anything like that. So that's something the Niners have been missing. Obviously, Danny Gray has been a flop. He's suffered injuries. He had the Rashee Rice incident, that TMZ reported on with a crash where they left the scene and everything like that. That's just a bad look. He's hanging around guys like that, and I don't think that either John Lynch or Kyle Shanahan likes that at all, which is why they brought in Pearsall, which is why they brought in Cowing, especially Cowing, because he's going to push Danny Gray. Danny Gray is either sink or swim this year, and I personally, we'll get to it in a minute, but, I'm not a big fan of Danny Gray. I didn't really know much about him coming out of SMU, but after doing research and stuff like that, I just was never really enamored with Danny Green. I wasn't really enthralled with that pick. It was a high pick. A lot of people were excited about it. I wasn't one of those people. This is going to be his last chance, and I think that he could very well be a cut candidate. All right, so getting into Ronnie Bell. Actually really liked him coming out, and I do think he can be a physical receiver in terms of blocking. I do think that Kyle Shanahan really likes that element of his game. He also does have return ability. They're going to have a lot more options in the return game this season, I think, and Ronnie Bell is one of those guys. But one of the issues is he cannot separate against man coverage. He just doesn't get very open when they man him up, and he does find the spaces in the zone pretty well, and there's some elements there that you can like and things like that, but he doesn't really have a whole lot of yak ability, and I think that that's just something that the Niners really value in this offense is getting the ball out quick, and then the ability to make one guy miss and take it to the house, or at least get another 10 to 12 yards, and I don't think I've not seen that yet with Ronnie Bell. It doesn't mean that he can't get there. There's the potential, and he's young in his career, so I'm pretty excited to see what Ronnie Bell does against the competition, against Pearsall, against some of these other guys. And I do think Pearsall is going to push Ronnie Bell for like that 4th spot, like right behind Jennings. I think Ray McLeod got, he was in there a little bit too. And honestly, if you think about it, I think that Ricky Pearsall was drafted to be the 3rd wide receiver and then eventually be bumped up into the 2nd wide receiver role. So, that's the hope with him. But I think that Cowing is looked at as more like a Ray McLeod, somebody who, if Deebo goes down or something like that, he can step up and kind of give you that element. Obviously not the physical element that Deebo presents, but Ray was just a little bit smaller, and that's kind of maybe how they view him. I kind of see similarities between Ray McLeod and Jacob Cowing. So, I think Ronnie Bell has a really good chance of making this team. I think the Niners do like a lot of things that he does, and obviously if some of these other guys get bumped up, he'll get bumped back, but he's still good in a pinch. So these are probably the top practice squad candidates here. The practice squad is going to be really interesting because you have to be able to make sure that these guys that are going to be on the practice squad don't get taken by another team and put onto their 53. So, they have the new veteran rule to where you can put veterans on the practice squad. So last year it was Willie Snead and Tay Martin were the two guys. So we'll just start with Tay Martin. Heading into his 3rd season this season, I don't see him really pushing anybody too hard or anything like that to jump up onto a game day spot or even a roster spot in the 53. If I think his ceiling is the practice squad, they might keep him there one more year, but he is a possible cut candidate. So that'll be something to watch, and he may get phased out, especially with Tarique Owens. Very intriguing undrafted free agent, obviously Terrell Owens' son. He has a very high ceiling, but I also think he's very raw. So, he isn't like his dad coming out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, when he came into the NFL. But he does, he has similar things. Watching him run routes and stuff like that, he moves a lot like Tarique Owens. So that to me is pretty exciting to see him, like his movements and things like that. He looks kind of like similar to his dad. So if he can get in there, and maybe they'll let T.O. come in there and yell at his kid and get on him when he's not doing something right, or talk to him and have him make it make sense. I think that Tarique Owens is probably going to be a fan favorite watching heading into the preseason, training camp and stuff like that, just obviously because of his dad and the genetics there and the DNA. So I think everybody's going to be excited to see that. And who knows, maybe he turns into T.O. 2.0 and he's got the same initials. So that would be fun if something like that happened, if he just emerged out of nowhere and maybe in a couple seasons he has star power. It's unlikely, but it's fun to think about and it's fun to wish for. And finally, Trent Taylor, drafted in 2017. He was a fifth round pick, pick 177. His rookie year was pretty solid, playing out of the slot with Brian Hoyer, and then I think we got Jimmy G later on, he was third and Jauan. Before third and Jauan, he was pretty automatic on third down. So his career has kind of tailspinned and trended down. He hasn't, he's 31 years old, so I think he is actually a likely candidate to be put on the practice squad, because I don't think there's going to be many teams busting the door down to try to get Trent Taylor and put him on their 53, unless somebody runs out of punt returners or something like that. Maybe it could happen, but I think in the same way that Willie Snead was kind of stashed on the practice squad, I think you could do that with Trent Taylor. So if they are going to have one vet guy and be that seventh guy that has the NFL experience that they can bring up in a pinch to be the fifth wide receiver on game day, Trent Taylor kind of fits that bill. 2021 and 2022, he was with the Bengals. He looked pretty good. There were some good things that he did there. Slot, he caught a couple touchdowns, but he didn't do anything with the Bears last season. He got injured and he just looked sloppy and slow. When he first came out, I was hoping he would be like the next Wes Welker, but he kind of turned out to be more Danny Amendola than Wes Welker. So anyway, it'll be fun if he can resurrect his career and run it back a little bit here for a couple years and kind of stay on the practice squad, come up in a pinch. But that'll be obviously a camp battle, and obviously a battle in the preseason to secure a practice squad spot. I don't think Trent Taylor is gonna be on the roster. So anyway, let's get into the final thoughts here. Okay, so this is kind of how I see it shaking out, coming back full circle. I think unless there's a trade or something weird like that happens, or Jauan doesn't sign his tender, someone pays that, the big three are going to be the big three. It's going to be Aiyuk, Deebo, and Jennings. I don't think that you take that away. They helped the Niners get to a Super Bowl. Jennings was very instrumental in the Super Bowl, might have been a candidate potentially if the Niners would have won for Super Bowl MVP. He was that important to the game. So last year the Niners rostered 6 wide receivers, and I'll imagine they'll stay the same. I don't think that they're gonna, obviously they're not gonna do 7, but I don't think that they'll do 5 either. I think they're very comfortable with 6 wide receivers on the 53-man roster, and I imagine that the practice squad philosophy will also stay the same. I think they're gonna probably keep 2, one vet and one not rookie, but a younger player. And unless the rookie winds up being Tarique Owens, if Tarique Owens can phase Tay Martin out, I think that Tarique Owens is probably the other guy. So there's going to be 8 total, I think, and there's 11 now, so 3 are going to have to go. Which 3? Obviously, that's going to play itself out in the preseason, but here's my prediction. Granted, this is with no OTA or camera or video or media or anything like that. So obviously, Deebo, Aiyuk, Jennings, Pearsall, Bell, Cowing are the 6. And I forgot about Chris Conley. I can't believe I forgot about him. He made a big catch in the Super Bowl. So Chris Conley is going to be potentially there also. But my prediction, was Chris Conley and Tarique Owens on the practice squad. I'm not sure if you can keep Chris Conley on the practice squad. So this would push out Danny Gray, Tay Martin, and sadly Trent Taylor. But I think that Trent Taylor and Chris Conley maybe could phase all the younger guys out. Tay Martin, Tarique Owens, all those types of guys. So it could just be Chris Conley and Trent Taylor as your practice squad players. I'm not really sure what the rules are. Maybe they have to carry, I'd have to research that, but I'm not sure if they have to carry like a younger player also, and that's part of the rules. You have to carry so many, year 1 through 3 type players, and then a couple, I'm not really sure. I've not dove into that, so you guys actually might not, or one of you or a couple of you might know more how the practice squad works with the rules on that. I definitely need to educate myself on that, so I will do that. I promise I'll do that and make sure that before the season I'm well versed in that area. But I think, Danny Gray, Tay Martin, Trent Taylor out of here right now. As it stands, I will obviously do a roster prediction and things like that later on when we have more data. So as always, guys, thanks for watching all the way through. Please like and subscribe to help promote the channel. It really helps me out. Also, if there's any other topics that you guys want to see me cover, please leave that in the comments below, and stay locked in for more Niners content, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.